Good afternoon, everyone. Today, me and my supervisor, Iskander Ahmetov, would like to represent our presentation, Decrypting Khazar Language by Using Power of Artificial Intelligence. So, first of all, we need to say about our outline. First of all, we would like to introduce our introduction part. After it, we would like to start with Khazar language and everything that we already know about this language. After it, we would like to talk about similar languages which are connected with Khazar languages and Khazar language and why is it important. Also, we would like to tell about our problem that we faced during this work. And finally, we would like to talk about technologies and their solutions and why do we need to use technologies by decrypting dead languages. And to sum up everything, we would like to represent our conclusion. And finally, you can see our literature review and the sources that we used during this work. So in our introduction, let's start with alive and dead languages. I need to say that nowadays people speak around 6,000 of different languages. However, at the past time, people spoke around 31,000 different languages. That's why we can say that we have this historical hole and we need to deal with this problem. That languages has really important message for our history, and they want to say to us something important. And some people nowadays think that it's not even necessary to learn alive languages. They think that only English can be useful for surviving, but actually that languages can help us to understand the history, culture, and many other important things that we could observe at the past times. For example, Egyptian language, it's not so important nowadays, but because people in Egypt speak Arabic language, so what for do we need to learn it and know about it? However, if we would see more deeply, we can see that in the Pyramid of Giza, there are a lot of Egyptian symbols that can tell us about the story of Egypt. And finally, we would like to talk about modern technologies and what for do we need it. Here you can see the word in Khazar language, and it's only one word that exists in Khazar language. So as you can understand, people in that time used runic alphabet. So first of all, before starting about the Khazar language, we need to understand who are the Khazars. And after it, we can talk about Khazar language and what the linguists nowadays think about this language. So here you can see the letters that exist in Khazar language and possible decryption of these letters. History of the Khazars. Khazars are the Turkic-speaking nomadic people, as I said before, and it became known in the eastern Pre-Caucasus, modern Dagestan, shortly after the Hunnic invasion. The name of the Khazars is a self-designation. Its etymology is not completely clear. However, according to the one version, it comes from the Turkic basis, like Khaz means nomadism. Secondly, Khazar language is a language that belongs to the Turkic languages, presumably to their Bulgarian group. There is not so much text, like only one that I showed before, this one. And there are 3 works of Khazar origin written in the Hebrew language, which was used by the ruling elite who professed Judaism. And the Khazars themselves used a kind of runic script, and this language still is not decrypted. Here you can see the genealogic tree of the Khazar language, and so you can see that Khazar language has a sister. It's a Bulgarian language that can be useful to us if we want to decrypt this language, if you want to understand how it works. So now let's talk about similar languages. And first of all, I would like to start about importance of similar languages. And after it, we would like to cover 3 languages that are similar to the Khazar language. So why do we need similar languages? First of all, if you want to decrypt something, we need the family of the languages. And our Khazar language is not isolated. It always has neighbors. And in our case, it's Chuvash, Khazar, Bulgarian, Karits. When we study only one language, we cannot see the real picture. However, the neighbors that surround another nature have the same roots. Their languages can be similar, and in our case, we can get more information via other languages. So let's start with Karit language, and as you can see, Karits use the same alphabet that Jews. And let's see brief history and language of the Karits. And by the way, nowadays there are only a few people who speak this language, and this language can be also dead in the future. So history of the Karits being similar in colloquial language, oral folklore, everyday customs and lifestyle to the surrounding Turkic people. The Karits nevertheless traditionally professed Karism, a religion similar to Judaism, or interpreted as a sect of Judaism, used the Hebrew language in business correspondence, scientific works, liturgy, and Thompson epitaphs. In this regard, there are two main versions of the origin of the Karits. It's Semiotic and Khazar. And that's why even here we need to know about similarities of the culture and languages to understand the origin of this nature. So Karits language is part of the Turkic group of languages. It consists of the Northwestern or Kipchak group. Karits is a member of the Western Turkic Kipchak language group, and it's divided into three dialects: two Western Karit dialects, Northwestern spoken by Karits living in Lithuania, and Southwestern used in Litsk and Galich. And the Eastern Crimean dialects already extinct by the beginning of the 18th century. Now let's see the Bulgarian language that is similar with Khazar language, and as you can see, they used also runic system. Bulgars are Turkic tribe belonging to the group of Western Turkic tribes. They inhabit the steppes of the northern Black Sea region to the Caspian Sea and the North Caucasus from the 4th century, and migrated in the second half of the 7th century partly to the Danube region and later to the Middle Volga region and a number of other regions. Bulgarian language, as you can see here, as was shown before, like the same picture, but here is interpreted in our alphabet. The early Bulgarian language was spread in the 5th, 7th centuries around the Sea of the Azov among the tribes that formed the basis of the Great Bulgaria. The Kuban region, there was a Kuban Bulgarian language, the speakers of which were the Black Bulgars, mentioned in the source before the 10th century. And both of the dialects have left no written monuments. The Bulgarian superstrate and upstrate are observed in the modern languages of people of the North Caucasus. And finally, the Chuvash language, it's not so close to the Khazar language, however, it's only one alive language from the Bulgarian family language. Nowadays, we can observe only this alive language. And as you can see, it's a modern alphabet of the Chuvash language, that it's not so similar of the Khazar language. Okay. So there are some problems that we faced with Khazar language while we were doing this work. First of all, it's lack of information of history of the Khazar language, their culture, history, etc. And secondly, it's lack of written texts. As I showed before, there's only one text that means name of emperor, but it's not truly information. It's only predictions, what means this phrase. And people are arguing about the origin of this language. Some linguists say that it's semiotic language. Some people say that it's Turkic language. Let's see, what for do we need technologies in our sphere? So first of all, if we want to decrypt a language, we can do it into two ways. Like a person can do it by itself, and we can use technologies But if you want to do it by yourself, you have to know a lot of things like linguistic programming, geography, history, and deep linguistics. So it's easier to do it into the with artificial intelligence and by using Python language. So there are two ways how can we decrypt the language by using Python and artificial intelligence. Old way tells us that we have to know family of language. Also, we have to make after a database of the words, and after it we can make comparison and see the frequency of the words. However, there is also a new way that tells us that we also have to know language family database and can make comparison frequency, but also we can see the predictable ways, like the system operates on numerous principles based on the knowledge of knowledge of historical linguistics, such as the fact that languages usually develop only in certain predictable ways. So, for example, if you want to compare Bulgarian and Khazar language, there is like, for example, in Bulgarian, it's the letter P, and in Khazar, it's most likely that this letter will be B, not R or K. So these predictable ways are helpful in Python, and that's why even no need to know the language family, we can see just by prediction. So now my colleague Iskander would like to continue.
Hello, everybody. My name is Iskander Akhmetov, and I'm the co-author of this work, and I will present the experiments which we have piloted for this work. Our problem is language reconstruction. So as we don't have any textual information from Khazar language, as Elina also said that we have only one written word in Khazar language. What we're going to do, we will try to obtain some words which exist in contemporary languages, in contemporary Turkic languages, which may be possibly of Khazarian origin or Bulgarian origin. And what are these languages? For example, Chuvash language, right? This is the only language of Bulgarian group which is alive today. And also Tatar language. Tatars claim that they descend from the Bulgarians. So they might have traces in their language proving that. Also there is a Balkar language in Northern Caucasus and the Kumyk language, but we don't have corpora for them. So we have used the data from a work by Delert et al. They have performed an excellent work in 2019, collecting corpora for many languages in Northern Hemisphere. They have collected corpora for Indo-European languages, Uralic languages, Turkic languages, Mongolian languages, and each corpora for each language contains around 1,000 common words. And the corpora also contains the word written in its orthographic form, and also the word transcribed in the IPA transcription, which means International Phonetical Alphabet. But we didn't touch this part because it is a complex issue on the phonetics of the language. And so our next step, after obtaining the Tatar, Chuvash, Kazakh, and Russian language corpora of about 1,000 words each, what we did, we normalized the words. First, we did remove all the vowels or letters corresponding to the vowel sounds in the languages. We did it because in Turkic languages, for example, in Tatar, Chuvash, and Kazakh, these vowels in the same words meaning the same things, they change unpredictably. So we have removed, and we are left with the only consonant vowel, or consonant sounds. And also for consonant sounds, we have performed a mapping. So we have changed all the sounds, for example, for J, Z, and Y, and E to J. Because you know, for example, in Tatar language, Yul, which means the road, in Kazakh language is Jol. So there is a clear correspondence between J and E in the beginning of the words. We also have changed the M for B, because, for example, in Kazakh language, Murun or Muz, Murun is the nose and Muz is the eyes. In Tatar language, it is Burun and Buz. And same is for Turkish language, Burun and Buz. We also have changed P for B, T for D, and all the H, K, H, and sounds we changed for K. We also changed C, Ch, Sh, and S for S, because they are used interchangeably among the Turkic languages. We also have C dialects in Tatar language. As you know, they speak, for example, not Chachak, they say Tsatsak. And we also have this dialect for Azeri language in Nakhchivan. They also substitute C for Che. Then after we perform this mapping, we obtain normalized words for each language, and then we can compare them on the same ground, on the same basis, on the same alphabet basis. So we try to find matching normalized words in Tatar and Chuvash languages, and also we try to match concept in the data we have obtained from the Delert word is the meaning of the word in English. For example, if we have kuz and köz, and it is associated with the eye in English, and it is a part of body, of human body, then it is matching concept. Then we also try to exclude common Turkic words which match with the Kazakh language. Why do we need to do so? And is it valid? We will discuss further. But as you know, Turkic languages are sharing among almost 70% of their lexicon. But we want to learn specific Bulgarian or Khazarian words. We need to find them. And in the fifth step, we exclude the words borrowed from Russian language. In Tatar and Chuvash language, they are the names of the months, some other words like for example, Ryad, Buryana, Brivno, and other things. And then analyze the results. Okay, thank you. And what we have obtained. So far, we have found not so many words which we subjectively think they are of Bulgarian or Khazarian origin. For example, Poshi in Tatar language, it is yelk. I think it's loś in Russian. In Chuvash language, it is pashi, and we have no alternatives in Kazakh language. No alternative word. Kekuk, which is kuko, shao, savut saba, usal, yaratu, and kutu in the meaning of the herd cattle. The corpora is relatively small, and I think we have missed such words as matur, which means beautiful in Tatar language, and they have corresponding word in Chuvash language, which is motor or something like this. But these words are not present in this corpora. We also have in Tatar language we have word Yilga. Yilga it means river, and I think it is also of Bulgarian or Khazar origin. And also another word, Yirak. Yirak means far away in Tatar language. It is also, I believe, in Bulgarian origin. But we have obtained 185 normalized word matches. And after filtering, after deleting the words borrowed from Russian and common Turkic origin words, we have 64 matches. But among these 64 languages, again, we have some common Turkic words because not every word from Kazakh language is included in the corpora, and sometimes we miss and also include the common Turkic language in this filtered set of words. Okay, Lina, next slide, please. And results interpretation. So is it valid to filter out the common Turkic words? And we need to address a question on how different was the Khazar Bulgarian language from all the other Turkic languages back then and from the contemporary Turkic languages. And how to differentiate specific Khazar and Bulgar words in contemporary Turkic language. So we also need larger corpora for experimenting, and the corpora for Karaim, Karaib, Kumyk, and Balkar languages. We also need to filter out possible Finno-Ugric languages admix in Tatar and Chuvash language. And the Turkic language expertise needed to differentiate from common Turkic words, because we need an expert. Maybe among the listeners of this presentation, there are experts in Turkic languages which can help us in future to differentiate the specific Bulgarian Khazar words from common Turkic words. And next, I want to conclude that Elina already said the importance of the studying the dead languages, especially this Khazar language. Why do we need to study it? Why do we need to reconstruct it? Because this is our heritage from our ancestors. And reconstructing the Khazar language, we could see the world with the eyes of our ancestors, because a language is a prism through which we perceive the world. And reconstructing the dead language of Khazarians, we could enrich our contemporary culture, and especially our common Turkic culture. Well, that is all. If you have any questions, please.
Спасибо. Есть вопросы?
Да.
У меня вопрос. Давай, Иван. Ага.
Потом. Давай.
Ну, вопрос только на русском, потому что сложно объяснить. Понимаете по-русски?
Да, понимаем.
Отлично. Смотрите, вот интересный подход был описан, когда вы берете согласные, то есть убираете гласные и потом сравниваете, да, эти языки. У нас, то есть мы сталкивались с такой задачей, только она была обратной задачей. То есть нам нужно было создавать термины в информатике. То есть мы смотрели, то есть образование терминов. И у нас был немного как бы другой подход, обратный. То есть мы брали согласные и между согласными вставляли гласные и смотрели. То есть они как бы образовывали слова, которые, в принципе, они в татарском языке, то есть в словарях нет, в лексиконе, но они как бы по разным там канонам, правилам, они вполне могли бы быть татарскими словами. То есть, например, слово «сонар», в принципе, «сонар» — это компьютер, да? У нас, в принципе, так и образовалось это слово. СНК, то есть вот эти классные вставлялись, и потом слово появилось новый термин. Я почему про это говорю? То есть интересно было попробовать именно вот с другой стороны, наоборот, рассмотреть эти слова как бы новое образование с гласными, да, на всех этих языках, и посмотреть, например, какое-то слово, может быть, возникнет, уже существует в каком-то языке, да, и получается то есть через это слово, получается, в одном языке вы можете восстановить какое-то новое слово уже, например, в татарском или в другом языке. Ну, как бы, как предложение, как некая идея.
Да, это интересно. Вообще вот эта идея пришла с удалением гласных из семитских языков. Вы знаете, да, что в арабском и в иврите там нету гласных, а гласные передаются диакритическими знаками, называемыми там фатха, дамма, касра, которые передают звуки там и у. Вот. И что интересно в этих семитских языках, вот эти корни, состоящие из согласных, да, они вот состоят из 3-4 букв. И получается, при изменении порядка этих букв получаются другие слова. Или, допустим, можно прочитать корень наоборот, и это уже другое слово. И вот что интересно, иногда это слово или близкое по смыслу, или противоположное по смыслу. В семитских языках есть такая вот закономерность интересная. Или, допустим, там вот я не помню, как точно на арабском это звучит, но вот слово «хисан» — это 3 буквы «х-с-н», это лошадь. А вот если поменять порядок букв, то получится глагол «легать», «пинать». То есть это уже будет как бы свойство лошади легаться. Вот, интересно.
Да. Было?
Я тоже.
Слышно?
Прошу прощения. Спасибо. У меня такой вопрос. Скажите, пожалуйста, как соотносятся полученные вами данные о предположительных словах хазарского, булгарского происхождения с этимологическими словарями, источниками и какими-то описаниями того же хазарского языка, например, в историко-лингвистических исследованиях? Что этим вопросом уже задавались, наверное, по лексическому фонду этих языков и так далее.
Ну, вот в этой части мы анализ не проводили, но в дальнейших планах у нас есть вот как бы такой как бы future works, что мы хотим сделать, да. Есть книжка Питера Голдена, где он попытался собрать все хазарские слова, которые где-то когда-то упоминались исторически там путешественниками арабскими, в переписке с какими-то королями и прочим, в летописях, в русских, в арабских, где-то еще. Какие-то слова он выудил, также топонимы, которые могут быть говорить, допустим, да, слово «семендер». У Гумилева это расшифровывалось как соломенный город, там, по-моему, он построен был из этих саманных построек. Вот. И вот взять вот этот словарь и попробовать соотнести его с тем, что мы получим нашим методом. Вот. А то, что этимологические изыскания, да, есть, я знаю, такие сборники книг по этимологии. Это было, по-моему, в России какое-то издание, многотомные труды по этимологии слов тюркских. Вот, и с этим тоже надо поработать. Я думаю, что чтобы отличить именно булгарско-хазарские слова от общих тюркских слов. Вот так.
Спасибо. Есть Нилуфар, вопрос.
I have one question for you. As far as I understand you, that your method rely on corpus-based term extraction, right? Because you have a big corpora, you can compare the term with etymological origination of the words. And can you show us the percentage accuracy of Chuvash and Tatar or Bulgar and Khazar languages? And how much accuracy of these words? Just if you remove normalization of the stage of words, right? You remove vowels, and how much it is accuracy to identify the etymology words?
We didn't address this problem to identify etymology of words. We only produce the matches between the words in Tatar and Chuvash language corpus. And there was no way to apply the accuracy metric there because we don't know the ground truth for what we want to obtain. If we know the ground truth or label what we want to find, then we can apply accuracy metric. But currently we cannot. Maybe when we discover these Bulgarian or Khazar words from Chuvash language and Tatar language, then we can label the words in the corpora of Tatar language or Chuvash language, that whether they belong to Khazar origin or not. And then we can train some kind of machine learning model, a classification model, and use this accuracy metric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you.